Hello there everyone! Today we're gonna tie this. This is a very small chartreuse popper. Basically this is intended for the garfish that are arriving in Denmark here in very large numbers. But I think this way of tying could be applied to, I don't know, small mouse bath, big mouse bath, all sorts of different types of fish that occasionally will grab a popper in the fly. It's a really easy and fast pattern because that suits the purpose for the garfish really well. But the idea here is to make a small popper fly that has a popper head, but still has a lot of very good hooking properties. And this one has that because we're tying this first on the hook, and then we're gonna attach the popper head to a shank. This also gives the fly a really nice movement in the water. So easy, fast, and just the ideal fly for garfish, but for many other species as well. And this way of tying a popper with the shank is really good because a lot of the time with the popper, the major difficulty that you face is that the popper head will interfere with the hook gape, and you will not have as good a hooking percentages as if you tied a regular fly. But with the shank inside the head, then you're free of all that. So here goes. A small chartreuse popper intended for garfish, but this can be used for many other species as well. So here goes. So now we're ready to tie the actual fly. This is of course a bit of a close-up of how it's gonna look. Whoops. So there you see it's basically a fly that's composed of marabou and then the popper head and some flesh, and that's basically it. So it's not a difficult fly to tie, but it's a very efficient, very easy and fast one, and it swims really well. It just has a lot of attraction and just performs absolutely amazing. So just adding a bit of tying thread here to have a surface for the marabou to latch onto, and we're not gonna have a body on this one. It's basically just gonna be two different bundles of marabou and flesh, and then the popper head, because we do not want this fly to be too long. If it's too long, then we lose some of the advantages of the shank. If you look at the hooking properties. So basically, I'm gonna look at the marabou here. If you want a longer one, you can just keep it as it is. But I want a short one, so I'm gonna tear off the fibers so it gets a bit more bulky, it gets a bit more dense. And then I'm tying this down so it's gonna go just outside of the hook, but not much more than that. Two loose turns before I apply some pressure to get the marabou around the actual hook here. There we go. I'm gonna cut away all of this leftover stuff. We don't need to cut it more than that. You can do a lot of finishing with this, but there's no need. It will just make it harder for the next layer of marabou to actually cover the pieces of tying thread. Then we're gonna add some flesh, and for this I'm gonna use Flesh Abou Ascent in chartreuse, in pearl dyed chartreuse. The chartreuse color here is a nice one for garfish. It's also a very good color for a lot of other things. I think bass in particular. Not that I have any experience, but what I see of the bass flies, a lot of them have this color scheme, and for all other saltwater patterns as well. So basically, again, I move the flesh so it's distributed between my fingers, and then I try to place it so it's gonna go all around the tail or wing or what you want to call it. And it's okay that it's slightly longer than the tail here. Then it will have a kind of a flesh tail effect. Now that's all done. And I'm gonna take my tying thread, make a whip finish. There we go. And you can apply some varnish or some sabagap if you want here. I don't think there's any need. This is going to be covered by a lot of other materials, so this fly is going to be fairly durable anyway. And then I'm going to take the shank, and for this I'm going to use a spawn shank in size 16. And the 16 millimeter shank here is the perfect size for this size of popper head, the size small double barrel one. I'm going to take a plier and then open my shank up. Attach it to the hook here. Gonna attach the shank to the vise instead. Use my tying thread to make sure that the shank here is closed and strong and durable. There we go. Cut away the leftover thread. And then again, I'm going to take another bundle of marabou to make a new wing to cover the joint here of the shank and the hook, and just to basically give this fly a more natural look, and so that it doesn't have some abrupt endings, and it's also going to look good as the transition up to the actual popper head. So again, I distribute this the wing or tail out between my fingers, and then I fold it around the shank. So it's not going to be as long as the actual tail. It's going to be slightly shorter than the tail, which will help to define this fly also and give it the right tapering. I'm going to tie this down here. I'm going to cut away some of the marabou here. Don't need to cut everything of this marabou away, because this is going to help fill out the popper head. There we go. And then I'm going to take the rest of the bundle of flesh that I had from before. I only used about a third of that, so no need to take a new bundle. Again, distribute it between my fingers, so it's going to go all the way around here. There we go. Tying it down. Cutting it off. And then, you see there is for one more fly here. So I'm just going to leave that off to the side. Then I'm going to do my whip finish, and before I apply the glue to make the popper head stay in place, we have to prepare the popper head. And as I said, we're going to use a double barrel shotgun popper here in the size small in chartreuse, and it has some dentation for eyes, which we're going to attach later, but it also have a hole here in the back that can guide your that can help guide your actually dubbing needle. I have some glue on my dubbing needle, so I just had to clean that in order for this to get pointy again. And then what you do is you insert the needle here, and then you push it all the way through. It is very important that you have some gap here, so you don't push it all the way through like this, because it's going to go straight through, and then it's going to go straight through into your finger. So make sure that you hold this the correct way before you actually push the needle in, so that when you push the needle in here, it's going to go through the popper head, emerge on the other side, but it's going to emerge on the other side without it can enter your finger, because if you do this wrong and something slips, then you can end up with the dubbing needle inside your palm, and that's pretty far from ideal. There we go. So now I have made the hole in the popper head, and then I make a trial attachment here. Basically just apply a lot of pressure until it fits there. I check that the eye is free in the front here. It is now, and then I pull the popper head back off. You do the trial test, because if you don't do that and you have applied the glue, then a lot of things can go wrong, and you potentially end up destroying or ruining the fly. So just smear some Sabagab on there. Then we take the popper head here, and now it's in place. And now you have this tiny little easy to cast on lightweight gear on a size 5 or size 6, 5 or 6 weight, and you have a perfect little popper. I can see that. Perhaps I should lower this a bit. There we go. And now for the finishing touches, to take your Sabagab once again, and then to the two grooves, the two dentations here that are placed for eyes, you're gonna add a small amount of glue to each. There we go. Then I'm gonna take my eyes here, And I like the red ones. These are the 3mm eyes will fit for this size of head. Add a small one to my side, and then I'm gonna add a small one on your side as well. And the grooves here, the dentation will really help, along with the super glue, will help keep this in place and protected. There we go. And so there we have it, a small, fast, articulated popper that will work really, really well for a lot of things. And as you can see, why is it stuck in my vise? Did I glue this? Yeah, I accidentally glued this to my vise. I can clear that off fairly easily. So there you go. You have this small, very, 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 very lively popper, perfect for all types of you know, fish that eat something in this size. This one here is particularly intended for garfish, but you can use this for a lot of other things. Fun to fish, easy to tie, and it has a ton of movement. So as always, thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Also, I have a fly tying web shop. Well, basically, I have fly fishing web shop. We have a lot of other things than fly tying. It's called Nordic Anglers, and if you haven't seen that shop yet, then please swing by and see it. On there you can find the complete material kit for this fly and any of the other fly patterns that are on this YouTube. So please subscribe and please swing by the web shop. Otherwise, good luck out on the water, and thank you a lot for watching. Signing off.